Thank you for joining me on yet another conscious rant. Please feel free to show your love with a like, or a share, or a subscribe. I'm so sorry, little grasshopper. What the hell did I miss? What did you do, spider? What the did you do? You just stung it and left? It happens so fast. Hey, take note of how high this grasshopper is on this structure up in this web. Look at where it is right now. Are you gonna let it go? Is that what you're doing? Or is there a bigger spider finna come out? Is he sparing you? Is this what the angels have been doing? Watching as nature takes its course. I am going to go over and free the grasshopper somehow while I'm sitting here. I want to show you, because I've been watching this cricket that's caught in or grasshopper that's caught in this, obviously it's a web, and we've watched the spider go all the way up. It was initially up there by that dent, and I was like, what the hell did the spider do? Did it sting? Did it sting him and just retract back down and waiting for him to die? The spider is wickedly clever, baby. He's gonna let this grasshopper wear itself out trying to escape. While whatever he did, the spider did, is he's reeling that grasshopper back down to him. He was way up there. And now this is where he is. I've just been sitting out here looking, because I'm sitting here like, how are the angels and whatever other beings that are watching, just watching us do what we do, humaning down here, you know? Or not even say, I won't even say down here. We're humaning amongst them, or for the humans that applies to. But it's like on one hand, I want to get out and save the grasshopper because he's alive just like me and deserves to live. But in the natural order of things, like I get it. I get it. This is a meal for the spider that he earned. He earned it. He cast the web and his food flew into it. He casted a net. A web is a net. And something flew into it. No one cares if that grasshopper had a whole family to go back to. Had a girlfriend or a boyfriend. And they were going to meet at the lake, which I'm sitting right over here by a lake. Nobody cares about that because it's fair game. The spider cast a net, a web, spun a web. But I ain't never seen nothing like this. Because I'm telling you, that spider was up there. And now it's not spider, but the grasshopper was up there. And now it's down there in less than 15 minutes. That means that spider is underneath where he crawled back to, under there, and is wielding and pulling. He's bringing this grasshopper down to him from way up there to down here. I'm so sorry, grasshopper. See, if it were any other example, if it was something else that I saw, then yeah, I would get out and save the grasshopper. I've saved plenty of butterflies and grasshoppers and crickets and even birds from spiders. Like, you get another chance. Whatever else is going to take you out after this, okay. But here with me, you've been spared your fate today. I know that we can't do that every time. And I don't even know that there's not a penalty spiritually for that, because everything has a divine order, man. Everything has an order. I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty good-sized grasshopper. And that was, I mean, it's a big spider, too. I'm so sorry. That's all I can think. And I just want to get out and save it out of the web. That is what is really in my heart. This has gone down even since I've noticed that it went down over a foot. It went down over a foot in like 10 minutes. It's only like, it's less than that to go to get down to the bottom of that tin box. I'll come back to this just for the sake of saving space on my phone. Yeah, I'm sorry, little grasshopper. Okay, so I was getting ready to post a video and I just thought that I would stop and give just a little more backstory. So on that particular day, I had literally lost my job.
Correction, it was actually the day before on that Friday. I recorded this on Saturday. Okay.
I've been terminated, and not really given a solid reason for why I was terminated. I was told specifically that it had nothing to do with my work performance. It had nothing to do with my attendance. I didn't have any write-ups, no warnings or anything like that. I was in a probation period. I got COVID and I was sick. And even though my absence was excused, even that wasn't even a part of the termination. I wasn't given a reason. I was reminded that I don't have to be given a reason. Like in the state that I live in, they are in an at-will state. And so I left, and that had happened like on that Friday. And so the day that I was sitting in this parking lot, I had driven to this place called Eagle Lake. In Oklahoma City. And I never go to that lake. I actually had never been to that lake. Like when I was looking for my son when he was 16 and he left home, and I was like, you don't abide by my rules, you don't want to live by my rules, you can get out of my house. And that fool left. My baby left. And so when I was losing my mind and looking for him, I drove to Eagle Lake. But other than that, I don't kick it there. So, but I love going to the lake. But anyway, so I thought that I would go to that lake. And that was the closest place that I could go to, that I wouldn't be around anyone. I just wanted to be there and sulk and cry, to myself. Like, let me go and have whatever experience that's due me at the lake by myself. And when I got there, there was signs there that said that the lake was closed from like the 6th until the 21st of the month. For something is, I guess it's goose season or something, duck season, goose season. It was something like that. I backed my car into a dock because there is a business that goes on the way down the trail to get to the lake, the entrance of the lake. There was a dock there like for semi trucks and deliveries and things. And so I thought that I would just go and just have a cry by myself. And so I'm all right. I'm okay. All right. I'm okay. But on that day, I was an entire mess. I was so hurt and so sad. And then it's on the heels of, there was a whole incident like earlier that day where a gentleman, I think I talked about it in another video. Again, these videos were like months ago. It was a while. It's nothing like right now. But I talked about a gentleman who he tried to get me, okay? and was, expressing deep passion for me. Never gave him a kiss, never did anything, never went on a date. He told me that he was married. And I kept doing the right thing. I'm going to always do that. When I say I wish that any of the men who cheated on me, I wish that they would have come in contact with a woman like me who I would never knowingly engage with a married or taken man, even if you're not married, even if he's not married, just to be on the other side. Like, I know that there's a woman, you have a mate, a woman or man, you have someone on the other side of you who is expecting you to keep a promise that I'm sure you made, okay? And this guy, at the end of it, he told me that he's been married for some 24 years, 14 or 24, I forget. And I bowed out of that. But that same day, the day before this video with the grasshopper, that same day, this man had approached me, just expressing that he was having a hard time walking away from me because he felt like I was an earth angel. But he kept trying to tempt me. And I even told him everything I'm saying to you guys right now. I said it to him. I was like, I could never. Just don't even try. There's no point in you trying to tempt me because I don't care. I mean, he was trying to do a lot of things. He was willing to pay bills for me. He was willing to send me money. He was willing to help me in all the ways that I needed and still need a lot of help. But it's like, at what cost? Is the juice really worth the squeeze? And that's why I was saying, like, anyway, so back on the subject of the Spidey and the grasshopper, when I pulled back and I was sitting there just in my feels, and I purposely was facing the sun. I wanted the sun to hit me because I'm telling you, there are healing properties in the sun. Even if it turns out to be some Truman Show illusion of a sun. Brother Sanchez has put some things into perspective for me. These are things that I haven't read anywhere. My hand is shaking, guys, because I get emotional. When you talk about the truth and things that cause people, it causes some of us to be shadow banned. It's easier to lie and say that someone is crazy than to admit that they may be onto something. Everyone is trying to protect a bag. They're all trying to protect something. They have a vested interest in covering up different aspects of the truth, of your truth, of my truth, of the truth of this world, the truth of the principalities and the true powers. I see us all kind of like that grasshopper in a way. You're just hopping along, minding your business. What were you even doing up that high? But they hop around to escape the threats on the ground. But then he didn't know that he was going to catch a web way the fuck up there. He didn't know, or she, or it didn't know. I don't know if grasshoppers reproduce asexually, but I'm just saying I have such a deep appreciation for life. And anyone who knows me, there was a time in my life that I ran from butterflies. I ran from anything that can crawl, all because my middle sister was bitten by a fiddleback when she was like, I think she was 9. Between 9 and 12, she was bitten. It was a baby fiddleback, like still a little translucent, transparent, like you could actually see through pieces of it. It was just a baby, and it almost killed her. Before that, I was totally that little girl picking up grasshoppers, picking up roly-polies, playing with them, picking up earthworms, talking to them, like all the mud pies that I made for my grandfather. My grandfather ate some of my mud pie. He did. And then the next door neighbor to my grandmother, Mr. Sherman, he ate a piece of my mud pie, because I remember just crying, like asking him, like, I made this pie and you won't eat my pie, like, eat my pie. And I was like, you're not even going to eat the pie. They said that after they took like a small bite of my pie. I'm sure they spit it out. But anyway, back on the... There are watchers in all aspects of life. And I get the whole, supply and demand. And I understand the circle of life and just the natural order of things. There are people at that job. This is why it was like so poetic. And I was just like, I took it as a sign. Well, I took it as a sign from the universe. Like, this is to be expected and should be respected. It's the whole circle of life. And we all have a purpose. We do. As a watcher of a sort myself, especially on that day, when I saw something, I was like, even though obviously I'm thinking out loud as I was recording it on that day, many weeks ago now, I was sitting there really like just acknowledging and respecting the whole life cycle, and that we all kind of get caught in a net. I'm not just talking about the narcissistic supply, because they are born and bred of a specific gene type. The sociopath is a sociopath, whether he has good parents, no parents, abusive parents, it does not matter. And so there's a natural order of things. But for chosen individuals, and you know who you are by how you move, because I've never been able to watch an injustice happen. I can't watch you reel in an innocent other living being into your net and say nothing, do nothing, much less let me feed you so you have more web in your ass. I'm sure it's not called an ass, that part of a spider, but so that you can, project that string and that silky little that silky thread. Like what it apparently did is the spider, crawled up there. It's a beautiful spider. There was a time that I could never say that. But like I said, I do have a very genuine appreciation for all life. And I do understand, I do. On that day, after sitting in the car and crying 4 hours, I had been out there crying uncontrolled. I cried so much that like my skin on my eyes was just raw. Under my eyes and up here, like it's just that it caused severe like red discoloration. I was so sad, you guys. I was so sad and just heartbroken. I was like, I didn't even do anything. Do you know how many times I've said that? It got to the point to where when I would get pulled into the office for something, and I know like you can't talk about my appearance, you can't talk about my attendance, you cannot talk about my performance, so why the fuck am I really in this office? I started showing up like that. Like before I would let them get through their whole spiel, me and whoever would be in the office, right? It was happening in school, grade school, the little few college courses that I've taken. Well, not in college. It didn't happen in college. I'm not going to say that. That's not a true statement. So I can just keep it to the facts. I'm not going to stretch it to college because that in all the college environments that I sat in, I was right at home. And I did not expect that, because that's the last thing I wanted, was anything that was watered down or manipulated. And all of everything is taught with an agenda. That's why you don't have a true version of American history. It doesn't accurately depict all of the other races that make up this melting pot that we live in the country that I live in. I'm not even going to say it, but you know what I mean? No one's the truth of what actually happened. You can take it out of the cartoons. Well, first they took all the cartoons off of the air. You don't want people to see how ugly this place really was. Anyway, back to the net, the web. I was sitting out there just reflecting on my situation when I was talking to the angels. I was talking to the ancestors. I was talking to God. And it wasn't even like, why me? Because now I'm in a place where I know that it all happens for a reason. So I was just asking for it to be revealed to me. When I'm trying so hard to live upright, and I always have, I'm not taking anything from anyone. I'm not using anyone. I just did the right thing and turned several people around, especially that one that was completely, man, he wanted me. Even after he was like, I could have sworn I mentioned that I was married. I was like, if you had mentioned that you were married, you could never have gotten my number. I promise. If you had mentioned that you had anybody, there's no way. My ego is too big. I can't even say that it's not all about the genuine respect for another woman. That's in there. That's in there also, because I've been that other woman, thinking that I was married to someone, thinking that I was in a long-term, exclusive, committed relationship with someone, thinking that we were both being faithful, and learning that I've been faithful all this time, and even kind of missing, not kind of, but actually missing my partner, missing this person to be with someone. And I want to grow spiritually with someone. You want to be my cover, but you can't hold my hand and pray with me. At first, it made me doubt God. Then it made me doubt them, the man. And then it made me look at myself. Did you forget that you didn't need him before you ever met him? You were just fine. Who was praying with you before? But that was just my condition to submit. You needed to be God-fearing. You needed to be able to acknowledge God, to be able to hold my hand as your wife, as your dutiful wife or your dutiful partner, and for us to be able to go to God, whatever God is. We should be able to be exploring that together, and to have never been mated with someone that was like-minded. Ever. Because carnal is our flesh. But all that I'm saying is, in all these situations, these people were they had surrounded themselves with other vultures and scavengers just like them. Put themselves through college, or were put through college. And this is another thing, like when I talk about how all the rooms I sat in with all the money and all the degrees, that wasn't to say that the room was important. I was saying that in a place where most would have been intimidated, I was not. I don't give a damn how much your clothes cost. I didn't and do not care what your educational background is. I don't care what your resume looks like. I care about how you treat people. And that I sat in rooms with people who were, they're all coupled and married, out here playing games, playing chess with my life. And I'm a single mother, prided myself on hardly ever qualifying for unemployment, unemployment for like more than 2 or 3 payments worth of unemployment. And then I hop right off of that shit. I never understood how people can do it for 6 months, 2, 3 years worth of unemployment. I have heard and seen it. Not shaming anyone, because it's a benefit that's out there for the people that need it. Until I am unable to work, until my body won't let me, or my mind won't let me, I will never stop trying to provide for myself and to cover myself. And the idea of going to a man and living under harsh conditions just so he can pay some bills, but he can't love me, can't love my children, can't pour into me, can't grow with me. I stood up to that I stood up to that thing that was telling me as a woman that I needed someone, at the cost of living in a disillusioned, like in an illusion. That was so scary. But I picked myself up every single time, with my children on my back, with me missing my children. It happened whenever my children were living with their father, when it was my turn, when it was his turn to have them. And I got to just work on myself. I fell so many times. If anyone with eyes, look at that resume. And I dare you to open records, request any of my records. There's one organization I had gone, and I was reporting things lightly because I'm not so quick. Just because something appears to be shady, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's shady, because for a shady thing to happen in a place of, in a workplace, one person can't get anything off by themselves. I never want to make anyone feel stupid for falling for the okie doke. And so I was tactful even on how I exposed some very unethical behaviors. You can't have a spirit like that and also getting your hands dirty. And one agency came back when I complimented a fellow that I never even talked to. I talked to him the one time that I opened my mouth to address him personally. I paid him a compliment, a very genuine compliment. And not even in the same week, it was like 2 weeks later, after the compliment, I was dragged into an office and questioned about it. Well, we're not saying that this person's making any claim, but what exactly did you say? What did I say? I complimented this man. I gave him a compliment. I complimented something about his aesthetics. I'm not going to say it on here because then anyone that knows me would know exactly who and what I was talking about. But I'm very tactful and not like I move with the discretion and with the honor and the respect that I've always hoped that I would be met with, and I've never gotten it in a place of employment. I wasn't terminated for that at that company with the compliment, but I'm just saying, when I blew the whistle on someone who was altering people's employment record, I blew the whistle with a question, like, is this ethical? Is it ethical for this to be done? When I move and I transition into the same position in another department, will I be expected to do this or allowed to do this? What would compel someone to do this and to move like this? It doesn't matter how lightly I say it. I worked for this software company a long time ago, like more than 10, 15 years ago. I worked for this company, and there was a manager that she watched me pull myself up from the ground. I started as a contract employee, a temporary employee, and she saw potential in me. Well, just like this company, in all of these cases, these agencies will already be littered with a specific group of people, friends and family, sorority sisters and brothers, other organizations and brotherhoods and social families, where I now know what nepotism is. And when they look up and they see me and they meet me, and I speak and present as I do, intelligently and respectfully, it must scare the shit out of people. Who hired her? Who does she know? Who referred her? No fucking body. No one has ever given me the hookup on a job. I've never leaned on family members or friends. One of the agencies that I worked for a long time ago, I had an aunt who is no longer with us. Bless you, Auntie. I know you're resting in power. I know that. She had referred us there, me and my sisters and my cousins and other people in our family, male and female. She referred so many of us to these jobs, and so many of us never, ever were selected, and we were the most qualified. and should have been selected for these positions, and we were not. And so I was like, okay, it just didn't work out. I stopped putting her, the day that I applied and I did not put her name down as an employee referral, they interviewed me like 2 days after I applied and hired me a few days after that. It happened just like that. And then when she was on her deathbed, and I was with the rest of our family at the hospital, I'm there, we're pre-grieving her, which, by the way, she said she wanted to speak with us about an inheritance, about wills and estates. And there were specific people that would not leave her side, did not want to allow her to have that conversation with us. That's a whole nother story. I'm definitely down to have the conversation. But anyway, because the about this part is that when I returned to work that following Monday, the man who would become my supervisor, he was there. And he told me he saw me at the hospital. And I was like, you saw me at the hospital? What were you doing at the hospital? Who do you know? He had worked with that aunt for more than 20 years. He knew her. He was like, why didn't you tell me that was your family? Why wasn't it on your application? And I told him, I was like, I'm not accustomed to riding the coattails. I'm not accustomed to that. And I know that on paper that my credentials and my background are strong enough. They're strong enough to carry me and to get me in the door of this agency. And I'm not going to let you down. And I'm not going to shame my aunt. I'm gonna show up and do the job that you are training me to do. But anyway, I'm just saying that in these organizations where those that supply that chain of employees, because there are some people that they get off on terminating people for no fucking reason, no reason at all. I'm like, I'm in the HR office, like, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I know what's not going on. Whatever you think that we're sitting here talking about my performance, because they couldn't say shit about me. I was too clean. That comes from a lifetime of dealing with bullshitters. People, like in the relationships, people that try to say, well, I can't be with you no more because you just give me such a hard time. You ain't never satisfied about nothing. You're going to sit up and try to lie to my face, lie on me, to me. I can only imagine what you're telling your mistress. You know I ain't did shit to you, except for refuse to tolerate your bullshit. In these jobs, in these relationships, you can't shit in front of me or shit on me and want me to take it quietly. I wish someone would have come and plucked me out of the net, out of the web. It's never happened. No one saved me. And I'm still here. I'm still here. About the grasshopper. There was a cyclist. We did not exchange information. He drove up from the lake. I couldn't take my car beyond that gate in the lake, but this cyclist pulled up. And I stopped him. I was like, I imagine I look crazy. I got all my shit. You can tell I'm clearly living in my car. I was like, please don't be, like, sounded like the angels, be you not afraid. I was like, please don't be afraid. I was like, I know I look like a rambling fool. Like I'm sitting there, tears in my eyes, my face is red. And I was like, there is a grasshopper. I was like, I am not a threat to you. I'm not trying to trick you. Will you please help me? Will you free this grasshopper? Because this grasshopper is in a web, and I'm looking at this giant spider that crawled out from under this tin building. And I want to save the grasshopper. And ordinarily I would never disturb the cycle of life and the balance. I would never disturb it. But the fact that I saw it and I have the ability to save it, even if I'm too afraid, that spider was that big, it was that scary to me. I asked him to do it for me, and he did it. I climbed up there and I took him right over to it. He was like, where's the spider? I was like, you would not believe this. It's underneath this thing. I watched it crawl up after the grasshopper had gotten caught in the web. And I explained it to him. He was like, wow, that's something else, man. That is wild. And I was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. And he went and he picked it out. He put it in the palm of his hand. I don't want you to kill it. And that's the other thing. Like whenever I would see spiders and bugs and things like that in my home, it's just me and the kids, me and some kids. I have people's babies, people leave their kids with me all the time because I am trustworthy and I am honorable and respectable. A lot of people do trust me, and I appreciate that. But anyway, why did I tell you guys that? Why did I say that? Why did I say that? When I review this, when I edit this video, I'm going to be thinking why I put that part in there. Oh, because I was talking about how in the house, yes, I would kill a spider or a bug. I will. Or if there's a neighbor that I actually know, I have asked neighbors to come and get a spider for me, to come and get a bug, not just because I was afraid of it, but I genuinely don't want to kill things. I don't want to kill it. If you can get it for me and get it out of here, I'm good. I'm good. I don't want to kill it. But when I'm outside, at all costs, I yield the building to you, bug, spider. You can have the sidewalk. You can have the path that I was on. You're outside, your natural habitat. And you can't help it that we've built shit all over your environment, right? That's where I am now. So anyway, you guys, he got the spider out for me. And then the way that I kind of resolved the situation and resolved it within myself was, as big as that spider was, that spider ain't missed no meals. It ain't missing no meals. It's caught plenty of things. It will live to eat another day. And maybe this grasshopper will go and maybe become a meal for someone else, or just has more time in this place. I wish that someone would have taken me out of the way.